am Alexander B. Stevens. This is What Is He Thinking? I'd like to welcome you to the podcast that doesn't perpetrate a fraud or tell you comforting lies, but instead gives you productive and constructive truths for the benefit of women from the perspective of men. This is your host, Alexander Stevens, back at it again for episode 3. And for this episode, I wanted to change things up and do things a little differently than we've been doing it in the recent past. This episode, I wanted to have a CEC episode, current event commentary. So instead of a half-hour monologue about a specific topic of my choosing relating to male-female interactions, I felt like today I should take a current event, something that's been in the news recently and has been floating around social media, and give this Alexander perspective regarding said event. Today's subject will be the rant on Instagram Live that was posted at the beginning of August from the up-and-coming conservative political television commentator Tomi Lahren. Now it's time for me to play her 14-minute long Instagram Live post, and I'm gonna start and stop it intermittently and add my commentary as we go down the list that she's gonna present to you today.
So normally I do final thoughts and I do Instagram Lives and I do rants about politics. There's plenty to talk about in politics right now. Do it every day. It's a great time. But something as of recently has been on my mind, and I consider myself a teacher, a helper, someone who could possibly inspire people to be better. So with that being said, this is a PSA for all the men out there and all the boys who think they're men, but they're actually boys. This is going to be the summer of canceling boys. Now, from my own personal experiences and the experiences of all of my friends, which range in age from 24 to 36, we've all got issues. Now, I will also say this. All of my friends are attractive. All of my friends are successful. All of my friends have something going on. Almost every single one of them have an issue with men. And you have to start looking at that and thinking, if an age range of that many people, including myself, living really all over the country and being blonde, brunette, short hair, long hair, tan, super white, super pale, these women range in every body type and everything. They're all successful, they're all intelligent, they're all good people. But if all of these women, including myself, are having issues, then I have to think, it might not be us. It might be you. It might be men. It might be men.
What a wide age range. 24 to 36, 37. Women having dating issues in their mid-30s is a whole different can of worms compared to women in their mid-20s having dating issues. So, I might touch on that in a later podcast. But that age range, and all of them supposedly being attractive and all intelligent, and all of them being quote-unquote good people, but all having man issues. She says, I guess that means there's a problem with the men, but I might say there's a problem with you, and birds of a feather flock together. So I don't know if this has happened in your life, but I know I've heard on a number of occasions individuals talk about how intelligent, attractive, and successful their friends are, and how they just can't understand, they just can't figure out why they have trouble with men. But when I look at these groups of friends, from my perspective, these groups of women are, 1, not all attractive. 2, many have obvious personality quirks, character flaws, or other things about themselves that a man's not gonna like or want to take seriously for a long-term relationship. And lastly, no, I would not call all of them intelligent. Intelligence can be a relative term. What type of intelligence are we talking about? Are we talking about street smarts? Are we talking about social intelligence? Is your intelligence limited to this one particular field that you so happen to work in, but all other aspects of life you're somewhat clueless about? Are you labeling these people intelligent relative to you, relative to some of your family members? relative to some of the smarter people from the university you went to? Who are you comparing these individuals you call your friends and their intellect to? Furthermore, I'm sure you guys have all heard my first podcast by now. If not, go back and check it out. But after you check it out, can somebody tell me all that I spoke on regarding raw intelligence on that 1 through 10 list? Another thing, how can your friends be of all different shapes and sizes and all be attractive? I did say in my previous podcast that men are more accepting of a wide variety of female figures, but at the same time, if they're this huge variety of shapes and sizes, then that just decreases the chance of them all being attractive like you say. Alright, I guess I'll leave that alone for now. Back to the clip.
Now, I've often talked about the pussification of America and how men are no longer men. I talk to my mom about this a lot, and she says, well, maybe it's just the guys in Texas. Maybe it's just the guys in Los Angeles. Maybe it's just the guys... It is not just the guys in Los Angeles, Nashville, Dallas, and they're not any better in the Midwest. Quite frankly, I think they're trash all over this country in the age range of about 20 to I think about 55, maybe even 60. A lot of men are trash. A lot of men don't know how to treat women. A lot of men don't know how to really, quite frankly, pull their heads out of the sand and pay attention. So I am going to help you.
This is somewhat of a side note, but I just decided to throw it in right here. Have you ever noticed how often relationship and dating failure and the responsibility thereof are put all on the man? It's like, if this period of dating doesn't lead to a relationship, if the courtship doesn't work out, the man wasn't doing what he needed to do, so the woman needed to leave. Or if the woman did something crazy, then the man pushed her to doing something crazy because he wasn't treating her right, or he wasn't doing what he was supposed to be doing, or because he was crazy himself. So it's like when the man messes up, it's his fault, relationship's over. And when the woman messes up, it's the man's fault because he caused her to mess up. I've always found that quite interesting. Anyway, back on topic. So, she complains about the wussification of America. Can somebody tell me what has been the cause of that? Who has risen into power? Or whose influence has increased tenfold on the culture that has created an environment in which men are less masculine than they ever have been before? What has changed in society over the last 40 years that has demonized and tried to eradicate traditional masculinity? I'd like to propose that many of the fourth wave feminist leanings of current day society has created an environment that creates men that women do not like and do not want to be with. Men are trash. What if a famous guy made a video saying women 20 to 80 were all trash all over the country? How well would that have gone over? How much heat would he have gotten on social media and even regular over-the-air media? You already know the answer. He would have been canceled. But when Miss Tomi or many other women on social media and in the regular press say derogatory things toward a whole 49.9% of the population, in many circles, they don't get any heat at all. They get support. Lastly, Tomi says men spend too much time with their head in the sand and don't know how to treat women. Well, if I was to do a survey of men, they would feel that the inverse is true also. Many women don't know how to treat a man, aren't interested in treating a man the way he wants to be treated, and or they're not paying that close attention to what's really important either.
And these are some of the things that I've experienced, and these are some of the things my friends have experienced. I'm just gonna lay a few things out. They haven't all happened to me. Some of them have just happened to my friends. A lot of them have happened to me. So, the first thing, and I've made notes, by the way. I've made notes. This is how invested I am in this, because I've been thinking about this for about 2 weeks solid now. First question for men. If you like a girl, if you're even somewhat interested in a girl, you need to ask yourself this question. Are you single? No, I don't mean are you kind of single, seeing 5 people, dating somebody, still kind of in a relationship, kind of broken up, kind of on again, off again, kind of married, kind of divorced. Are you actually single? That means single. You have nobody. You have no complications. You have no attachments. You are actually single. That is the first question, believe it or not, that needs to be asked. And ladies, you should be asking it, because in 2020, it's not a given anymore that a guy that's actively pursuing you is actually single. So that's the first thing.
All right. That's all you're going to get right now on this video. If you want to listen to the continuation and the conclusion of this episode, or if you want to listen to one of my many other interesting and educational podcast episodes, I'm going to need you to open up your favorite podcast hosting platform and search WhatIzHeThinking. Look for the podcast by the same name as this one, and you can enjoy the rest of the episode. We're on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Anchor, Stitcher, Amazon Music. You can find the podcast everywhere. If you have any questions, comments, or suggestions for new topics for me to discuss, please shoot me an email at whatizhethinking@gmail.com. And never forget, I'm not here to tickle your ear. My only goal is to tell you what you need to know.